Week 6 of the college football season has concluded, and we get a topic like this before the season where we mention our college football predictions for the end of the season. But through week 6, what is our top four right now? Gordon, I'll let you begin.
All right, this is in no particular order, but first I'm going to go with the Michigan Wolverines. I feel like Michigan has been the most consistent team all year. Have they been the best team all year? Not in my opinion, but they will have their opportunities coming up with Penn State and Ohio State, right? Obviously, win those games, you're going to be in the playoffs. Next, I'm going to go with Georgia. Yes, they're 6-0. They struggled a little bit, but we've seen what the team can be, especially last weekend against Kentucky, right? 51-13, an absolute beatdown. I was at the game, by the way, just had to say. Third, I'm going to go with Florida State. This is the best team in the ACC, in my opinion. There are really no holes with the Seminoles. Also, the win over LSU and Clemson give them a little bit of leeway, right? They can afford to lose a regular season game, but still win the ACC and get into playoffs. And fourth, I'm going to go with the Washington Huskies, who I believe will beat Oregon this weekend. And that's going to be a monumental win, catapulting them to the top of the Pac-12 championship race, in my opinion. And yeah, so Michigan, Georgia, Florida State, and Washington. Evan?
So I agree with Jordan's top three, just have a little bit different ordering, and then I disagree with the number four. So here's how I'm looking at it in my playoff, because I know last year we did a video with TCU, of course, where we were just hammering TCU for being in the playoff, and I still stand by that way. I don't care that they beat Michigan. They got hammered in the national championship. So there's two things I'm basing it on. I'm basing it a little bit on the past, like who the teams faced, how not how high ranked, but like quality wins, right? In my opinion. And then who is the actual best team? I'm not basing it on college football playoff rankings. I'm not basing it on any of that. So I got Georgia number one. They haven't lost a game since 2020. They have to be number one, in my opinion. They're the champs until they're defeated. They're number one until they're defeated. Number two, I have Michigan. I agree. They've been very impressive this year. I think they're still vulnerable. Obviously, you have the two-headed monster at running back. McCarthy's a decent quarterback, and then decent coach in Harbaugh, yada, yada. They're a good team. I think they're probably the best team in the Big Ten right now, but I would still take Georgia over them. FSU, I do have at 3. I think Jordan said that. I agree with him on that. FSU has, when I say based on the past, I'm looking at FSU specifically. They beat Clemson. They beat LSU this season. That's a pretty damn good resume. If I would, to say the least. And then lastly, right now, just based on right now, I'm not predicting what's happening in the future. Right, the topic of this segment is, which is where I disagree a little bit with Jordan, is right now, who is your top 4? I think right now it's Oregon. I think they you look at they scored 80 earlier this season. You look at the beatdown of Colorado. Yes, Colorado has been a little more vulnerable, but still they laid a ginormous beatdown on them, and USC only beat them by a touchdown. So right now I do have Oregon slotting in at my 4th spot. That's just where I have a little bit of disagreement with Jordan.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say my top four, and I'm gonna go into a little bit of depth about all of the teams. So number one, I have Michigan. They're 6-0. Michigan, has been the most consistent team in the country this year, I believe. Um, so I think they're number one right now. Georgia I got number two. Georgia has started slowing a couple games, but they have prevailed. I think Georgia will be at number two until somebody beats them, or if anyone beats them. Number three, I got Oregon. Um, Oregon with Bo Nix at quarterback, Bucky Irving in the backfield, Troy Franklin at the wideout position. I think Oregon deserves to be in this top four. I think they're going to be number three. At number four, I got Florida State. Florida State has looked incredibly vulnerable these past couple weeks, especially against Um, Boston College and Clemson. I think that Florida State will lose a game late in the season, but they are still my pick to win the ACC. So
So
I think they will stay in at number four.
here's the interesting thing is none of us, me and Jordan, and I agreed more with Jake on the case of Oregon over Washington. But otherwise, our lists were pretty similar. We like FSU, we like Georgia and Michigan. Where else could a team potentially come from? Because I'm looking at it, the SEC this year looks down. They're still a very good conference, but realistically, who else is it going to be in the SEC right now? Alabama has one loss, yes, but they got a tough hill to climb. You look at the Big 12. Well, you had Texas, but Texas just went down. I don't know about you guys. I don't completely trust Oklahoma. And then, the Pac-12, yes, they're sitting pretty right now, but they're going to beat each other up. They're lucky if they get one in. So to me, it comes down to, and Notre Dame's not in the picture anymore. They have 2 losses, so they're done. To me, it comes down to, is Ohio State strong enough? Can you get, even with the loser, and we're assuming Michigan's probably going to beat them because they have recently, and in my opinion, they do look like the better team right now. Is there a path for Ohio State, or do you guys see another team sneaking up?
Yeah, Ohio State definitely has a path, I think. When you got that two-headed monster at wide receiver, I think when you have Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka, Kyle McCord throwing them the ball, I think Ohio State can definitely find a way to
But
get in this one, especially
is
if they
there a
beat.
path specifically if they don't beat Michigan?
If they don't
Okay.
beat Michigan, no.
Jordan.
Okay, so what intrigues me is, what if Ohio State beats Penn State but loses to Michigan, right? You have an 11-1 Ohio State team, which, by the way, has already beaten Notre Dame on the road. Say what you want about Notre Dame, but that was a big game. Um, so that makes it interesting to me. What if you have an 11-1 Ohio State sitting there that did not make the Big Ten championship game, but has wins over Penn State and Notre Dame? What do you do with the Buckeyes? That's fascinating to me.
I say you put them in, and the reason why I say that is because they if they do, and that's still a big if. They've looked a little shaky so far outside of Marvin Harrison. As a team, like they've looked a little shaky against Maryland, against Notre Dame, yada yada. But I think you do. Again, my list was not based on predictions. It's based on what's happening right now. So Georgia will likely finish strong. Michigan will likely finish strong. We don't know this for sure, but they're likely. FSU is not a guarantee to finish strong. The ACC is very competitive. In Oregon, we know the Pac-12 will be competitive. So there's room. I'm not predicting one way or the other for sure, but there is room for, I think, a one-loss Ohio State.